Guys, what do you think about a concept like this? You have a Ford Raptor, it has a 5-liter Coyote V8, the engine is supercharged, it produces about 758 horsepower, but it's also kind of a work truck, has a flatbed, and can carry up to 90 gallons of diesel fuel? Well, this is exactly what I have here. This truck is a custom build from Pax Power down in Houston, Texas. And if you've been watching TFL Truck channel and our website for a while, you know that we've actually tested one of these trucks, not a work bed truck, but actually a V8 supercharged Ford Raptor build. And you can check out that video on our TFL Truck channel. But basically what this is a conversion. So let me show you what this truck starts its life out as. So let's say you have this idea and you purchase a brand new 5-liter Coyote V8 10-speed automatic F-150, which is a crew cab, 4-wheel drive. You know, this one in this case has a short bed option. And then you call Pax Power and they can convert it into a Raptor. And what do? They actually take off the body panels, so they take off the hood, the fenders, the bed, and actually purchase true factory Ford Raptor components. So the fenders, the lights, the grille, the hood, and often the case the bed sides as well. But in this case, of course, the bed is completely unique. Then they also purchase the suspension components, including some of the A-arms, shocks, etc. And they basically put that on the truck, but now you have a V8 powered Raptor conversion instead of a twin turbo EcoBoost high output motor that Ford offers from the factory. So basically, this is a very unique truck. But of course, well, let's look under the hood. Well, since we're here, you see that blue component right there? That's a Whipple supercharger. You don't have to supercharge your built truck like this, but of course, if you have the imagination and the money, you can. And final, like I said, the horsepower rating is around 758 horsepower. And when I drove it in Texas, I can tell you, this thing moves. I did like a slightly boosted launch, and yes, this is a very, very quick truck. I also took it on a kind of a grassy pasture, and I drag raced it against the standard Raptor from the factory. Yeah, that was quite a lot of fun. So let's keep moving and actually take a look at the bed, because this is quite unique. As you can see, this truck does offer a twin exhaust system, but the bed is basically mostly custom built. You can see up here it has a chase rack with additional storage, and there's a light bar on the front of it that I'll show you in a second. Here, this customer, who is actually in Oregon in this case, asked for a custom fuel tank system, and this particular one carries diesel because this customer is a construction, he owns a construction company, he needs to refill some diesel machinery, and he wants to have a fun truck that can also do work. And you might be asking yourself, well, don't stock Raptors have like 1,200 pounds of payload? How's he gonna carry 90 gallons of fuel plus other components? Well, this truck, specifically this truck, has a unique airbag suspension system in the back. It still has regular shocks from a Raptor, but it also has an airbag system that's not really mounted to the axle. It's just kind of, it's mounted on one side. So when the truck squats, you could add air to that system. And Pax Power says that system is capable of carrying up to 5,000 pounds. Yeah, that's pretty wild. But once the truck sags, the airbag contacts the axle, and now it's kind of attached on both sides, and you add air, and you can kind of lift the truck up a little bit if it's squatting too much. So it's kind of an airbag helper system. So that's very unique. But then this bed has a few other neat features. Obviously, it has LED lights. The turn signals are sequential. These little squares, there's one on each side, those are actually blind spot monitor sensors that are usually mounted inside the taillight of an F-150. In this case, it's in the bed. Then they have little storage pods, or actually, I mean, these are actual extra LED lights pointing backwards. You know, if you're doing work with your truck, obviously, you need extra light, so that's there. And you're probably wondering about suspension travel in the back. Pax Power says this truck offers around 1 to 2 inches less air suspension travel in the back than a standard Raptor. So if a standard Raptor has about 13 to 14 inches of travel, this truck offers about 12 inches of travel, or 11 inches of travel in the rear, which is still pretty good for an off-road truck. Then there's a custom-built rear bumper, and notice in this bumper, I don't know if you can see this, but there's backup sensors. There's a camera right here, marker lights, an input for to get your spare tire out of this truck, and a hitch and trailer wiring connectors. So basically, all of the functionality of this truck is retained. This used to be a Lariat F-150, with all the features, including backup sensors and everything like that. So all those features are retained. Here you can see I think there's 2 tie-down rails, one on each side of the bed, and kind of a bed floor. So you can mount additional stuff to it. And then I started thinking, what if this doesn't have to be a work truck, right? This can also be a play truck. And Pax Power, I think they're thinking along the same lines, because they say, you can remove the extra fuel tank. Let's say you could, maybe modify some of the chase rack and actually load like snowmobiles in here, or potentially mount a flatbed truck camper unit, which are becoming more and more popular. And those camping units actually offer a lot of space because you have a lot of width, floor space on those units, so that they're not confined by a regular truck bed. So that could make for a very interesting overland vehicle. And let me know what you guys think about this. On the side, of course, you can have a regular fuel fill for your big V8 under the hood. That's obviously still there. And then there's I'm not exactly sure about this view, because this bed kind of reaches down a little bit below the cab. So it looks a little bit strange on this side. But I'm also wondering, and I will call Pax Power, maybe ask about this, is if you can get a longer bed option. The Crew Cab F-150 does offer a 6.5-foot bed, which in this case would be even cooler, I think, because it combines more functionality with some of the kind of fun aspect of this truck. Of course, custom wheels, tires are Toyo Open Countries. And you're probably wondering, you're saying, how much is this truck? Well, Pax Power says this complete build, including the base truck that it was based on, is $110,000. Yes, $110,000. So a stock fully loaded Raptor is around 75 grand, and it has a twin turbo V6. But you can have a fully customized truck like this for just over $100,000, which I think is reasonable considering how much work went into a project like this, and it's kind of a one of a kind, at least for now. They also offered several different other packages, right? So you can choose any truck, really, any F-150 for this particular conversion. It could be also have a 3-liter Power Stroke V6 diesel engine that you could add, suspension components from the Raptor like this, and body components. And of course, supercharging costs extra. That's why the price of 110 grand in this case. But they have different levels of pricing, which I think is pretty neat. So let me know what you think about this. Can a Raptor really do work? In this case, carrying up to 5,000 pounds in the bed potentially? Yeah, that's a pretty crazy concept. And guys, go back to TFLtruck.com and TFLoffroad.com for all the latest truck real-world reviews.